Hey everyone, it's Mark Ferguson with Investor More, and I'm standing outside a rental property that should be rented, but it's not. We just rented it, and it's now vacant again, and a lot of drama going on with this property. We're going to take a look at it, tell you what happened, and it seems like we just don't have an end to crazy stories in my real estate deals. Eventually people are going to start thinking I'm just making this stuff up, and sometimes I wish I was, but I really wouldn't leave a property vacant just to make things up. So we're going to take a look at it. And it's a little chilly and windy, and I know it's much easier to hear me inside, but I haven't, all of the house yet. I just peeked in the living room to make sure it was still vacant. This house has been through a lot, and we'll talk about all that, what happened here, but of course we love the likes, comments, shares. Keep those coming. We love seeing new subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed yet, it's a great time to do so. All right, this is a house I bought 2014, I think. And over the years, we've always had it rented, never had a problem there, but it's had its share of issues. And lately, I don't know what that beeping is. It had some tenants who somewhat trashed it, left a bunch of junk here, didn't destroy it, but it wasn't in great shape. And then we came through, we're remodeling it, and we had a dishwasher line break and the basement flooded. So that was an issue. Luckily, the insurance paid for a lot of that, but still, it was vacant for a long time. I haven't turned on all the lights yet. And then we put it up for rent, had someone who wanted to rent it. Kept saying they're coming in to pay the deposit, first month's rent to get keys. Then they just ghosted us. Never showed up, never came to sign the lease, never did anything. It's like, okay, so we put it back up for rent again. Found another person to rent the property. And we always do pretty intensive screening. We brought our property management in-house recently just because we've had issues with property managers, but it was a mom and her son who were going to rent it. And the mom didn't have a lot of income, but she had great credit. I mean, really, really good credit, no issues in the background check. Had okay credit, wasn't the best, but he had the income and they're going to live here together, so that seemed okay. We rented it to them. They moved in, and almost immediately, as soon as they moved in, the issues started happening. And luckily, as you can see, it's extremely clean and in good shape, which, obviously it could be way worse. But the son called us and said he wants off the lease. His mom's crazy. He doesn't want to be any part of it. And in that situation, if two people sign the lease, right, they're both responsible for the lease. If one person doesn't pay or causes damage, right, they're both responsible. And that's why we had them both on the lease. One person has good income. One person has the good credit. They're both responsible. No, we can't just take you off the lease. That's not how it works. You sign the lease, you agreed to it. He's like, okay, I have a job in a different town. I want to move. I don't want to be on this lease. I really need to help you out. I'm just like, I'm sorry, you're on the lease. So then a couple of days later, he calls back and says, and this isn't me who talks to the tenants, it's my team, but I kind of say what they heard. It says, hey, my mom's gone crazy. I need to move her out. We need to cancel the lease. And we're like, what are you talking about? And so what he said was that she's got mental health problems, mental health issues. The police were called because she was running down the street yelling at people. She disappeared. He can't find her. He needs to move her out of the house and get all this stuff out and break the lease. And we're just like, holy cow. So we're wondering, okay, is he just saying this so he can get himself off the lease? Is he trying to, is there something else going on? What is happening? But that puts us in a very tricky situation because we can't just move one party out of the house, right? If two people sign the lease and one person wants to stay and the other person doesn't, we can't just move them both out. We can't force someone out without both of them agreeing to, hey, we want to cancel the lease. We want to be done with it. Because honestly, in a situation like this where it's kind of, crazy and weird, you're probably best to just let them out of the lease, let them move on, and go to someone else because so many more bad things can happen. But we can't just do that if one person's doing it and the other person won't. So we couldn't contact her. We couldn't get a hold of her. We didn't know where she was. The son said he didn't know where she was. And then he showed us some court documents saying that she'd been been declared where she wasn't able to make decisions properly, like all kinds of crazy stuff. So we didn't know what to do. And at that point, we're just like, okay, we have to talk to our lawyer and figure out what's going on. And you can see everything is in really clean and good shape. We did not bring cleaners in. We did not do anything here. This is how they left it. And they did move in. They moved in all their stuff, or her stuff. So anyway, our lawyer said, I don't really know what to do either because I haven't run into many situations like this. But he looked into it, talked it over, saw some of the court documents, and he said, okay, you can allow him to move her out since she's out of the picture. She won't respond. We don't know where she is. And there's these court orders. So it's very tricky in situations like that. And I've dealt with some situations like that on a personal level with some of my family where there's guardianship issues and decision-making issues with people who, don't have full capacity to make decisions. And it can be very tricky. It's very tough in those situations to figure out what to do because you can have lawyers do documents and do different things, but then the courts can challenge them and you just don't know what, no one has a perfect answer to those situations. But the lawyer said, go ahead, move them out, and we'll post a notice saying, it's posted on the door if you saw it before, a 10-day notice to quit, and we'll go from there. So we thought, okay, great. Hopefully she moves out. We don't hear from her. Everything's good. And we'll go from there. And look, he came, he moved them out. He moved her out in a day, gave us the keys, said it was clean, and it looks fantastic. I have no idea what he did with her stuff. I don't know if he's been in contact with her. But then yesterday, we got an email from a behavioral health place saying, hey, can that tenant move back into her house? She's asking us if she can still live there. And so we're like, oh my gosh. We again referred it to our lawyer and said, hey, what do I do with this? He said, you're still fine. I've researched it. Just have the behavior health talk to me. I'll talk to them, and hopefully we'll get it all straightened out. So that is where we are at right now. We have to wait a little bit here to make sure everything is good. And yes, this is a substantial violation notice to quit. I don't want to show you the names or anything on here. But for substantial violation in your lease for committing an act or series of acts near premises which endangered the person willfully and substantially endangered the property of the landlord, prohibited. So that's what he did. So there was a police report. It showed her running down the street, yelling at people. So we have a lot to back that up. Hopefully, according to our lawyer, hopefully it holds up. Hopefully she can get some help and figure out a better situation. But they are paid through the end of at least this month, if not next month. So that's another thing to consider is if you do have to get rid of someone, break a lease, there's a lease breaking fee too we charge as well. And he paid that. You can't release the property until their term is up if they've paid for it. So you can't really double lease a property, so make sure you're good on that. Very important to pay attention to local laws for leasing properties, for tenants. And that's why we talk to our lawyers when we do evictions. When we have situations like this, we want to make sure we do it all legal, all above the board, and how it's supposed to be done. And if there is stuff, like sometimes I get tenants asking me, hey, my landlord won't give me my security deposit, or they won't fix things, or there are bad landlords out there. Your city will have resources, and usually lawyers, a division that will help on tenant-landlord issues. And a lot of times cities, if you sue the landlord, take them to small claims court, if you have really bad situations, a lot of times you get more than the damages. If the damages are $1,000 security deposit and they take it and they shouldn't have, sometimes you'll get 3 times the damage back, $3,000 plus all your court fees paid and everything. So landlords should do their job, and if they don't, there are resources to help them do their job. So talking to your city is a good first step. And then yeah, sometimes tenants don't do their job either. So in that case, unless you know the law very well, have a ton of experience, we always like to talk to our lawyer and make sure it's done right. Yes, it's more expensive. Yes, it costs a little bit of money, but in the long run, it can save a lot of headaches and hassle. I've gone to eviction court before on my own and had to go back a couple of times because I didn't do things right, and it kind of makes you look silly. The judge thinks you're not doing things right, which gives you a worse chance of succeeding later on, and then it's a lot of time wasted too. So, all right, so that's the situation in this property. So once again, we'll be trying to lease it here soon to hopefully some people who will take care of it and stay here a little longer than a couple of weeks. All right, thanks for watching. Love the support, love the comments, love the shares. Keep those coming. Have a lot more videos coming up. Have another flip we bought with tenants in it. That situation's still trying to get ironed out too, so we'll have more information on that. Of course, we've got the store, the liquor store, we've got a new bar, some other new exciting stuff going on. We have the complex, which is getting closer to being finished. We'll have an update on that here too. And other new exciting properties I might be buying as well. All right, take care. We'll be back.